Now, according to the United Nations, about 3.6 billion people currently live without access to safely managed sanitation, including toilets and potable water. Here in Nigeria, it is estimated that more than 40 million Nigerians practice open defecation, compounding the country's sanitation challenge. The commemoration of the World Toilet Day chooses to raise awareness on the importance of safe toilets because when some people do not have access to safe toilets, everyone's health is threatened. The end goal for this observance is to ensure that the global sanitation crisis is tackled and the Sustainable Development Goal 6, water and sanitation for all by 2030, is achieved. Now, joining me via Zoom for this discussion is Hamzat Lawal. He's an environmentalist and founder, Connected Development. Good morning, Hamzat. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Right. Now, Nigeria has adopted several measures to try to curb the use or to try to curb open defecation. To the extent it came up with the Clean Nigeria campaign to intensify effort. Yet it seems we are not inching closer to the desired result that we have in mind. What do you think perhaps is missing in our approach to addressing this matter? What are we not getting right?
I think it's a lack of awareness. It's a lack of awareness from the part of citizens to understand that the importance of ensuring that we end open defecation. Today, when you see people with their building plans, particularly in the municipality, so what I mean by that is at the grassroots, a lot of people would not ensure that toilets are part of these plans, and when they build, they don't build toilets. But it's not just citizens, even the people who provide oversight. So what are the officials of local governments also doing to ensure that every plant that are approved, you have toilets in them, but these toilets are actually built? And for us to truly ensure that we achieve open defecation free Nigeria is to also ensure that water is provided. So it's not just about toilet, it's also about access to timely water and clean water. And then we have sanitation practices. So it's a three-way thing because this would also help increase economic activity and also ensure that, communities and people in these communities live a healthy lifestyle.
Right. Now, if you say lack of awareness is the major challenge, how committed has been our government to not just the federal government now, at the state level and perhaps the local government level, to also addressing this?
So the African Ministerial Council of Water have come up with a sanitation policy guide. Yesterday in Abuja, my colleagues were invited by the Ministry of Water Resources to review this guide and also adopt it, collecting feedback from key stakeholders, including the civil society. This is exciting. It's exciting because we now have a joint action plan that is timely and targeted with timelines. So, and with this action plan, what this means is civil society and citizens can hold government to account, but also play a key role to ensure that Nigeria achieve an open free defecation and then backed with a water policy so that citizens and communities can have access to water. So government has shown that level of commitment, both at the African ministerial level, but also at the national level. I think what's now important is how can we work with the Nigerian Governors Forum and how can we work with all the 704 local government chairmen so that we can trickle down this policy to the states and to the local level and ensure that there is an integration, but most importantly, there's that layer of collaboration and active participation where it's also backed with appropriation, because again, you need finances. This is where political will comes in. If you have government political will, both at the federal, the state, and the local level, then you can ensure that resources are backed by these policies. But I think one exciting part is the fact that President Buhari just signed the climate change bill into law. This would also enhance, an open defecation free Nigeria, because these issues are tied to climate change, both water, sanitation, and hygiene. And I think Nigeria is now setting the pathway towards progress, where we would also inspire other African countries. With this bill being signed into law, it means it's also going to attract goodwill, but most importantly, attract international resources. And you know that with this money that we're getting, or we're likely going to get on mitigation and adaptation, probably we can then put some of these resources towards open defecation free Nigeria.
Now, give us an insight into this action plan that you said was signed. Your colleagues signed with the government yesterday. What are the key elements that excite you, that you think that if implemented would inch us closer to achieving the desired result?
So part of them, we're looking at, okay, how can we identify areas where WASH can be strengthened in this guideline? So is to review the existing Ministry of Environment Sanitation policy. So we're not only saying that Ministry of Water Resources will lead this conversation, but they're going to work and have an interagency collaboration where Ministry of Water Resources is hosting this or co-chairing this meeting, but we would be able to review the Ministry of Environment sanitation policy. And in doing this, we'll identify gaps and then inform this policy and take it back to the Federal Executive Council, where also the Ministry of Water Resources would develop a central sanitation policy. So this central sanitation policy would also ensure that local and state governments are integrated into them, and would, develop and coordinate this guideline in an interministerial committee. So again, bringing MDAs, bringing development partners and civil society. And this is something WaterAid, working with other civil society, have relatively pushed for, and I'm glad that this is happening. And then we'll determine the role and responsibility of different MDAs. Over time, there's been this struggle, and this lack of proper coordination and harnessing the strength of various MDAs. But now we're going to carefully identify roles of different MDAs and what civil society, what WaterAid, connected development, and other partners would play. And in doing this, it means that government can actually hold us to account on our commitment, but most importantly, we and citizens can hold government to account as we continue to raise awareness. Because again, it's not just only government that has a role to play. Every Nigerian citizen, even if you have toilets in your house, and we need to see toilet as what would enhance dignity, and how we can also create jobs and value. This is what my colleagues will call it shit business. Because when you can even generate energy from this waste. So I think with this kind of meeting where we're now reviewing and adopting policy, it means that we're creating a framework for even private sector to come and engage and bring the needed finances.
On the one hand, we need to create more awareness, and on the other hand, we're looking at if we would have the required implementation of all of these policies that we have been talking about, like the one that was just recently signed, because we have always had action plans, we have signed bills, yet implementation is something, nothing to write home about. So I wonder how, what do you think? Are you positive that something will come out of this?
Yes, I think now we have the political will. The fact that Mr. President is signing this bill into law, the fact that the Ministry of Water Resources had deemed it fit to convey stakeholders meeting to review and adopt the African ministerial policy, and the fact that even the Ministry of Environment now understands that they have to champion the Climate Change Commission bill. Mind you, this has taken us close to 2 decades to achieve. During President Goodluck Jonathan's era, this bill was passed, but it wasn't signed. During the last National Assembly, it also got passed to a certain stage. But now it has been passed, harmonized, and now Mr. President has signed it into law. So today, Nigeria, as one of the leading climate champions in Africa that have been affected by the brunt of greenhouse gas emission, has now signed the Climate Change Commission bill into law. So what this also means is we're now serious, and international communities take us much more serious as we even, we just came back from Glasgow, and as we look forward to going to Cairo in Egypt for COP27. But what's important is the actions we take back home, and how climate activists, how social activists are engaged in government and working closely with government. And I'm excited with that commitment and coordination I'm even seeing from young people who informed part of the delegation to Glasgow and engaging on the post-Glasgow strategy and how to popularize this strategy, but most importantly, hold government to account as we create more awareness at the grassroots.
Now, as we look to create more awareness, this is our final question. There is the aspect of cultural norms and values that is said to also be at the heart of a lot of persons not placing a value on the use of toilets. How do we intend to address that?
I think that we just need to get our key messages right. And that's why really I'm excited about the work WaterAid is doing. Our culture, our values have taught us about dignity. I think that we've lost it at some point because, see, using toilet is about protecting your dignity, protecting your rights, and even living a healthy lifestyle. So as we raise awareness, we're going to reinforce this message that, having access to toilets and water and clean sanitation, it's about your dignity, it's about your right as a man, as a woman. And in protecting your dignity and right is to ensure that, you see the toilet as a comfortable space where you can easily access, but most importantly, that allows you not to get sick and transfer the sickness to your family and household. So it's about even, saving cost, saving money for yourself and using this money for something else rather than paying hospital bills. So our key messages would work with traditional religious institutions to reinforce that, our norms and religious and cultural practice, it's about dignity and ensuring that humanity lives this dignity lifestyle. So again, is to work with these key people to reinforce them and ensure that Nigeria embrace them. And hopefully before 2030, Nigeria would live an open defecation-free nation.
Hopefully. And that's a fine place to leave this conversation. Hamzat Lawal, environmentalist, founder, Connected Development. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.